There's rumors of The Rock either facing Roman Reigns at this upcoming WrestleMania or the next WrestleMania schedule. You will dictate, and Dwayne's health as well. I suppose three questions really. When did WWE start over relying on old wrestling draws to bolster their WrestleManias or another big show? And also, and there was a third question somewhere, but also, how did in the territory days did they deal with legends without overshadowing their incumbent main eventers?
Well, let me answer the second one first. In the territory days, your main eventers and legends were either coming to the territory to work a time, to work 3 months, 6 months, or a year, or whatever. Sometimes they didn't have a time frame. They just say, "We'll come in, we'll use you until we can't, and we'll find somebody else or someplace else for you to go." The legendary guys like today didn't exist. Again, it was a different market, different era, different setup. Didn't have the internet, didn't have cable. So you had guys, the traveling stars like the Andre the Giants, the world champion, and Dusty Rhodes, and things like that. Those were the legends who would go from territory to territory and make it special. Like they would bring in Andre as a special attraction. They would bring in the world champion's going to face your top baby face and make him better and stronger when he leaves. So that was how it was handled back then, and it was a different system. Now the guys are called superstars, and the guys are, when you say relying on the old guys, you really have to ask yourself. I don't know that they're relying on them, but why do they have to call these other guys in? Why is it that you have legends that everybody still remembers fondly, wants to see, like The Rock? Who else can you put in that category? You don't have another one of Roman Reigns' cousins or relatives that you can put in there and make it mean as much. The Rock is one of the, if not the most globally recognized names, personas on the planet. So if you don't have a Hulk Hogan on your roster, then get Hulk Hogan if you can. Teddy Long told me something one time at a convention. Teddy Long looks fantastic. He stays in shape. And he said, when I come to these things, they want Teddy Long, and I got to be in shape. So I asked him about doing the treadmill, because he does treadmill 1 hour every single day. He's amazing. And he said this is what they want to see. They want to see Teddy Long. They don't want to see a big, fat, out of shape. Who's that guy, Teddy Long? And The Rock is in shape. Lesnar's in shape. The guys they need to call are filling that spot because they have no one else of that stature, of that name value. And is it the fault of the company? Well, I don't know, because I'm not there. I can honestly say you have to be put in that position, but you have to earn the trust of the people who are going to put you there. And they got to know that you're reliable. They got to know that you're going to be there, that they can count on you. So I think that has a lot to do with it. The guys today are doing what they can, no doubt. And they're doing what they believe in their heart they need to do, no doubt. But you got to think, in the days of the Attitude Era, and in the days when you had your Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, and Kevin Nash's, they were pushing the envelope backstage too. They were making their own world, and anybody else who wanted to join in was had the door slammed in their face, so to speak. So they were ruthless in their desire for power, in their desire for greatness, and their drive. They had the drive. They had the gumption. They had the gravitas to go in and tell Vince what they wanted, and got it because they said it with conviction and confidence and believed it. Nowadays, a lot of people are saying, yes, sir. No. Oh, sure. Of course. We'll take this. And I've done it myself. We said, oh, Christ, we have no other angle. We have no other option. Okay, we'll do it. And Whereas if you went to a guy like Shawn Michaels, he didn't like it, say, hell no, I'm not doing that. And he'd have an idea. Same thing with Austin. If he didn't like the idea given to him, he would come up with something else. These days, I don't know if that's the case, that the guys are accepting everything's given to them. I certainly know that they're given scripts to read for promos, and that's not the way, in my opinion. If you can't read a script and be sincere, if you can't make it come from your heart and materialize what really you're feeling, get that point on paper across in your emotion and where people actually believe it, that's a big obstacle to hurdle. And a lot of guys can't do it. Some guys can't, but you have to get comfortable speaking in front of people, speaking into the camera, and being sincere and being at least where people care and are interested in what you're saying. If you just get up here and say a bunch of words, it means nothing. And that's what's going on today, I think. In the territory days, to go back to that, it was all, you had your bullet points. This is who you're working with next week. This is the match. This is what we want you to hit. You say it however you want to say it. And most of the great promo guys always had a story to tell, and it intertwined with what was going on in the. And also, it was authentic. It sounded like something they would say. Terry Funk wouldn't say something superstar Billy Graham would say, but Terry would say something just as interesting in a different way, in a different voice, with different words. And they were both iconic in their promos. So that's what I think is a huge reason why they're getting some of the legends and some of the guys from the old days, because that's what they were brought up on, the territory days. Rock was brought up. He saw his dad in the territory days. He saw the territories. He saw the old time heels. He felt the old time spectacle of it all. And he knows what the spectacle is. People want to come and see a spectacle. They want to see a show. They want to see lights, cameras, action, lions, tigers, bears. We can see cats and dogs all day. We want to see extraordinary. We want to see larger than life. We know we're all human. We know we're all the same, but we're really not, because some of us think differently. Some of us do different things. Some of us do like crazy, crazy stuff. And they don't have the mystery anymore. A lot of the guys out there are doing social media. A lot of the younger guys especially want to tell everybody every little thing about them, every little detail of their life. And they don't care anymore, because you're not mysterious. You're not this guy they look at and go, I wonder what he's like behind closed doors or behind the makeup. Darby Allin's a perfect example. He came up with a story. And he told me, man, he came to a seminar. I just got to say this. Don't care how it sounds, but this is what Darby told me. I saw him at a convention in Indianapolis. And he says, man, I just want you to know, when I did the seminar in St. Louis, I did a seminar for Harley Race. It was in St. Louis, around St. Louis. And he had told me about this gimmick. And I thought, well, I don't know if it'd work or not, but you got to find somebody who let you try it. And years later, of course, he did. And he said, when I heard your story at the seminar, it made me think, I got to have a story. I got to have a backstory. Why do I paint my face half this way and have not? Do you know the story?
I don't know. No.
Well, he was in a car wreck, and I think it was his whoever relative died in the car wreck. And this is for this and this is for that, because he felt so bad about, this died and this stayed alive, and I'm torn between it. I have this guilt. Now, that didn't really happen, but that's his story. You know what I mean? And I said, I don't remember the story I told. And I told a story about my mom when we were growing up. And I do this in all seminars. Talking about promos and how you're telling it. She had a rose bush by her house, and these dogs kept eating her flowers. There were 3 dogs. And she told me one day, Tom, I need you to take care of these dogs. I don't want them eating my flowers anymore. I don't care what you do, but I don't want to see these dogs around our house anymore. And I knew if I didn't do it, my mom was going to beat the living hell out of me. I knew it. That's just the way I grew up. And so I took these 3 dogs, and I had a big bag, and they weren't big dogs. I put them all 3 in the bag with a big rock, and I dropped it in the middle of this. It was like a little river. and it went straight to the bottom and never saw them again. And they were aghast, and they looked at me and went, oh. And I went, guys, that didn't happen. It's a promo, it's a story, but I want you to believe it happened. Because they all looked at me like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I said, no, exactly. That's what you want to do. Is like, what the hell? It's storytelling. And that's what wrestling is. You have to have a story. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. I mean, there's times when, yes, you have to tell the truth, but there's times you have to have a bit of truth into it and then color up with chocolate milk or whatever you want to mix it with so it goes down smooth, man. And sometimes it doesn't have to go down smooth. Sometimes it has to get caught in your throat. You go, oh my God, did you do that? I can't believe that. And that's what you want. It's those different emotions. And a lot of people these days have listened to that, but they don't know how to bring that out of themselves. They got entranced by the stories, and they were listening to these enchanted words in this colorful world they lived in. And when Dusty Rhodes would say it, or superstar Billy Graham would say it, you would look at these two characters and you would say, I believe it, because those are where those guys belong. They don't live on Earth with the rest of us. They get in their spaceship and go somewhere else after the matches. I mean, they're not regular people. They're not normal human beings. And that's why when I got into wrestling, that's what attracted me. These guys were not normal human beings. They were out on the road in a different town every night. Sometimes it was a little horrible arena like the Sportatorium or something like that was just dark and damp and hot in the summertime, cold in the wintertime. But oh my God, what an atmosphere for wrestling. What an atmosphere for these two behemoths to come out, and you would see the sweat fly and you see these guys hit each other and you would see the moves and you would wonder. Everybody would tell you it's all fake. Come on, this isn't real. But then you would look at it and you say, how in the hell is this fake? They hooked me. But that was because these guys never broke character. They never broke the fourth wall. They never acted like, oh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, what we're doing is really fun. We're just having fun with our friends. It's not what it was. Even though they were having fun with their friends, there was something called kayfabe that everybody adhered to, and that doesn't exist anymore. I know it's a different. Again, I keep going back to this because I want everyone to understand. I'm not saying I wish it could be like it was in the old days, although I wish it could be like it was in the old days. But it's impossible. We have to move on. We can't stay stagnant. We can't live in the past. I love wrestling the way it was. But I also love the ambition. I love the ingenuity. I love the intrigue at times when wrestling's done right these days. When you have a Paul Heyman cut a promo, when you have a Roman Reigns go out there and the bloodline and the head of the table and things like that, that's authentic. That's real. That's him. That's him with the volume turned up. He is such a great person. He's such a great athlete, such a great overall human being, Roman Reigns. But he knows how to be what he needs to be. He is a badass, a legitimate badass. He's one of those silent but deadly badasses. Don't let him get silent. He will warn you. He'll say, hey, man, I think I've had enough. Now you need to stop. He's one of those guys. All right, I've already told you once, this is it. And he's one of those guys that once you cross the line, there's no return. That's authentic. That's him. I mean, in behind the scenes. But when he needs to pull up his badass card on screen, he has no problem doing it. And Paul Heyman is just an accent on everything he does because Paul Heyman is so, again, that's Paul. That's Paul being Paul. There's no act. There's no pretense. That is just Paul going out and talking his talk. Whatever he does, that's what he does. And that's what all those guys do. And that's why it's so far hard to find somebody today, because the younger guys have watched all that growing up, and now they're going to try and duplicate that or imitate that when they need to concentrate on, yes, duplicate the element they're using, which is authenticity and gravitas and realism, but they have to do it with gravitas and realism, and they've got to feel it. It's got to come from inside. If it doesn't, it's going to be just rehashed words, and you're just saying the lines, and it means nothing.